Welcome to the third tutorial for AutoCAD Civil 3D. In this tutorial we're going to talk about some basic commands. The first command is the line command. You've seen me use it before. Now I'm going to go into more detail about it. So we go to create line, and notice down here at the command line it says specify first point. So we select the first point, and then it says specify next point. So you select the next point and then the next point, and then you can type C for close. So that's going to be kind of the way you work through a command. You'll constantly be looking at the command line every time you enter in something to find out what it wants next. You can create a line many different ways, so I suggest that you go through, and any of these that sound interesting to you to use, to go through it, look at the command line, do a search in the help menu to find out how to use it a little bit better. One you might be doing is a northing and easting, or create line by point number range. We don't have point numbers in drawings yet. I haven't got to the point to show you how to do that, but this point number by range is handy. Okay, the next command we're going to talk about is erase, and it's over here on the modify panel. The little pencil, we're going to erase, and it asks select the objects you want to erase. We're going to select that one. Right click to end, and again you may have that little box that pops up, but I've turned it off in my options menu. You can also erase an object by selecting it and hitting delete. Now we're going to show you another command called trim, and it's right here on the modify panel, and it is this line. And now at the command line right here it says select cutting edges. So we want to select the edge that we want to cut by. So let's say we want this line to stop when this line right here to stop when it gets to this line. So this is going to be the cutting edge. So you select it and you right click, say OK. And now it says select object to trim. If you want to trim this side, you select this side. If you wanted to select this side to trim off, you select this side. So we want this one, and there it goes. It erased. So let's repeat that again. Here's my cutting edge, but this time I want this side to go away. So I click on that side of the line. Then it say you want to extend the line. You want this line to go all the way down to that one. So you select extend, and this is my boundary edge, and this is the object to extend. That simple. So say you have an intersection, and you have all these lines that you've connected. And you want to trim out the middle. You can also do that by selecting trim, and so select cutting edges, and just select all of them, right click, and now the object to trim. So now I can just go through and select the middle to be trimmed out. So that's a little bit easier way to do it. Another command is move on the modify panel. Click down, and right here you'll see those common arrows for move. And let's say we want to move this line, and it asks for the base point. Well, I want the end point to be the base point, and then the point of displacement from there to there. I want to move this line from that end point to that end point. You can also select multiple objects to move. We want to move all of this from this endpoint to that endpoint. Okay? Copy. So select the objects you want to copy. I want to select all this. And it's done the same way with the base point from here to here to here. Okay? Your next command is offset. So we want to draw say for example we have a center line, and because you have a point, the example that you have a point at this end and a point at this end that they've shot the center line of a road, and then they tell you that it's 10 feet wide, so you want to offset that center line 5 feet on each side. So you select offset, and it says specify offset distance. So we want to be 5 feet on either side of the center line. Select object to offset, and then specify point on side. So I want to offset on this side. And then to repeat it, you can just select it again and go on that side. And then you can delete your center line. And now you have a road that's 10 feet wide. Okay. You can also offset through. So say we want to offset that line. We want to offset that line through that point right there, the end point of that line. So you select offset, and it says through, erase, flare, or distance. So we type T for through, and select object to offset, and we want it to go through the end point of that line. So it offset it through that endpoint. Another command is a polyline, and this will create a line that is connected. So instead of this line right here that we normally have been using, which when you create, each of the segments are separate objects, and in a polyline they're all connected. So say we want to make that polyline separate, like this one over here. Then there's a command called explode. You use this and it asks select the object to explode. And when we selected it, we right click, and now all those segments are individual objects. Okay. Now let's double click on this line, and this is the properties box of that line. It tells you all the properties of that box. Let's change the color to red. Okay, let's say we want all these other lines to be red as well. And you can use this handy tool called Match Properties. You click on it, it says select source object. This is the source object. That's the one I want everything to look like. That's the paint bucket. Now the destination object. And you can highlight all the lines that you want to look just like the other one. It's pretty handy. Okay, let's draw a rectangle. So here's a rectangle tool. Draw a rectangle. Now I want to change the size of it. I'm going to keep the aspect ratio the same, but I want to enlarge it. So you want to select the object that you want to scale, and it says specify the base point. There's the base point, and I want it 2 times as big. So the scale factor is 2. So now it's twice the size. Now I want to reduce that same block. Select scale right here. I want to reduce it by 75%. So here's the base point, and the scale factor is 0.75. So it is 75% smaller. Or the scale factor is 0.75. Sorry. Another tool that might be handy is this bring to front, send to back. And when you have multiple objects layered upon layer, then these 4 little tools will be handy in those situations where you want to change what's on top. Another command is fillet. So say we want to round these edges. Look down here at the command line. It says current settings, trim, and the radius is set to 10. It normally will be set to 0, but to change that radius, it's asking you here what your options are. And here, radius, the R is capital, so you hit R for radius. Now it wants to know what the new radius is. Let's say 25. Okay, so it's asking for the first object, and this segment of the line is the first object, and this segment of the line is the second object. And so it fillet a 25-foot radius arc on there. Now let's say I want to do the other 3 all at the same time. That ended my command, and that's kind of annoying to have to do it over and over again. So here you can type in for multiple. And our radius is still at 25. So select first, second, first, second, first, second. Great. So let's do another rectangle, but this time we're going to try the chamfer command. And this does a beveled edge. So on this chamfer, it wants to know the distance, and it's currently set at 20. So if you want to change that, you type D for distance, and you want to put in a distance of 40. That means that from this point to here, it's going to go 40 feet, and from here to here 40 feet, and then chamfer. So we want to make the second distance the same. Now select first line and second line, and so it's 40 foot shorter on each side. So let's repeat chamfer, and again we want to do a multiple edges, so we put M for multiple, and this first line, that's the second line, first line, second line, first line, second line. Alright, so that's the commands that I was going to go over in this tutorial, and spend some time in your software practicing these commands, because we'll be using them a lot. And we'll see you next week.